Hi, I'm Edwina. I'm a therapist and a personal style coach, and on this channel, I talk about the interplay between the two. This morning, I put on these sort of camo but with leopard print pants and this Harley Davidson t-shirt. I just had to sort of run errands and do chores around the house today. And it wasn't until I took my daughter to school and they said, "Oh, you guys are matching," that I realized we were wearing the exact same outfit combination. She was wearing her leopard print pants and Harley Davidson t-shirt. And it made me think about how much influence I have over her style expression and how my mother is the greatest style inspiration of my life. So we hear so much about being influenced. So people influencing us to buy things because they're influencers and that's their job, or being influenced by the trends, the zeitgeist, the Pinterest, all of these things. If we're interested in style, we've heard about all these things. But I realize that because I'm very careful about my consumption of all things, just because of my own personal journey, I'm very careful. I don't really consume a lot of media. I don't have TV. I'm a healthy eater. I listen to uplifting music to the best of my ability. So my greatest fashion influencer is my mom, and I'm grateful for that. Both she and my grandmother are the ones that taught me to know fabrics, to be exclusively a thrifter, to know quality, to know brands, to know vintage, to be able to mend and alter my own clothes. They my grandmother was an amazing seamstress. My mother is an amazing seamstress, and I'm not an amazing seamstress, but they gave me at least enough knowledge to be able to manage my own alterations and to be able to upcycle and mend, obviously. And I have made some things in my time, but anyway, all of this got me thinking. And so I wanted to come in here and look at my closet and recognize my mother's direct influence on my style expression. So, for example, I got this shirt earlier this season, this summer, and I haven't worn it yet because it's too warm for the summer. But when I found it, I was like, oh my gosh, I better get this for my mom. But my mom goes to Mexico for the winter now. She she lives there so she doesn't have to chop wood and shovel snow and all that. She lives there for the cold season, so she doesn't really need cold weather clothes anymore. So I was then like, okay, I better get it for my sister. And then I fell in love with this detailing at the back where it's darted here. I love a old-fashioned detail like that, where it perhaps will make it look like I'm a little bustled in the back, like I'm a lady from the Edwardian era. And the big thing with this, one, my mom loves velvet. Even as a child, she would never leave velvet at the thrift store because she would upcycle it into hats. Even if it was like totally worn, she would salvage the part of the velvet that was still good and make hats. So it's because that's been ingrained in me since I was a child. When I see, oh, it's a rayon and silk blend velvet, it's hard for me to pass it up. So although this isn't my best color, I'm really excited to wear it because of that style influence that I'm operating under. And so many other pieces here in my collection can be examples of that. Like this beautiful silk skirt, it's a little bit too bright of a color for me, but because it's not near my face, I ignore that because I love all the details of it so much. This amazing detail at the hem And so this I bought as a set, and I gave the top part to my mom, and she wears the top part in Mexico in the winter, and I wear the bottom. Another example of how much my style is a descendant of her style. And now seeing my daughter starting to hone in on her personal style expression, how much that is a descendant of my style. And so another piece that I got thinking about my mom is this vintage raw silk dress. And this was an amazing yard sale because they had collected all of this raw silk over decades because they used the textiles to make other things. And so when I found all this raw silk, I was like, oh my gosh, my mom would be so excited. And she was out of town at the moment. So I brought all this raw, they were selling all this vintage raw silk for $3 a piece. So I brought home way more than I was actually going to use because I wanted to give a bunch of it to my mom, which I did. And she used it to sew and she wore some of it. But that knowledge of being able to immediately identify the treasure is all thanks to my mom. So she's my fashion influencer. Thank you so much.